Right, question 186. If you could change 3 things about your country, what would you change?
Prime Minister?
Yeah, government for one.
Right, changing the whole government is not allowed.
I said Prime Minister. That's not
Prime
the whole
Minister
government.
I can accept.
Well, as a Yank, healthcare for sure.
Yeah, healthcare's good.
I don't know. Better.
Well,
I like my country.
renationalise the railways for a start.
Yeah. Yeah, make transportation free.
Yeah.
And
Free education.
yeah, there you
Do you
go.
not have free education?
Nope.
We do not have free education.
Do you not?
We do not.
No.
You have to pay for university and high school. There are fees. It's subsidized, but there are still fees.
Yeah, in America you have public schooling, but and that can be free. But once you get past that and you graduate from high school, you got to pay.
I mean, we've got to pay for university now. Although it's weird.
Yeah.
I find it really weird that I didn't pay for university. I got a grant.
You can get the government loans for it. You can get government loans for it, and you don't have to pay them back until you're earning a certain amount of money. But they're still student loans. They're better than American student loans, though, because you're not debt for life.
Right. Over here, they get you. They're like, oh, you want to go to school? Sure.
Do you know what? It's one of those things I think
crippling debt.
is really weird about this country.
Huh?
I got grant and fees paid under a Tory government, and it was a Labour government that removed it.
Yeah, it was.
That's one of the things I'm most pissy about for Labour about, because I think it is beneficial to the country as a whole.
I'd also like there to be what's that system? The welfare for all system that they've been trialing in.
Are you talking about universal
Sweden?
income?
Yeah, universal income.
Sorry, missed that, Bill.
Yes, UBI.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, universal basic income. My bad.
Basic income,
Okay,
yeah.
right. 3 things you're saying, right? Okay, renationalise the railways. I would rename Windsor Lower Slough just to annoy them.
Bill's gone.
I would change the national anthem to Either Big and the Wanker song.
Well, at least you're creative.
Yeah.
UBI really, really pisses me off.
Really?
No, not as in I'm against it. I'm very, very for it. It pisses me off because it is something that has been modelled and demonstrated to work.
Yep.
Okay.
It's been put into place in it is Sweden, isn't it, where they've actually done it?
I can't remember.
Finland, thank you.
Finland, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but the problem you have is that if you hold that, it gives people a level of freedom that is anti-capitalist.
Yep. Yeah, but
I'm not seeing the problem with that personally.
No. The problem is that the people that we need to persuade to do it in government are against it for that reason. Right? I mean, I think we are much likely. It's weird. I'd never really considered it, but I think we might find a better way of organising society with a base level of income rather than trying to do everything equal lower.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm not convinced, but I think we might. I think there are certain things that are more achievable with well-funded central government.
Agreed.
But it has to have you have to bring everything has to come back down is the problem.
Yeah.
And that's where the people that you end up in power. You got people like Trump. You have America that was badly organised, but reasonably well took care of some of its populace. And then you can see what happens when you get someone like Trump in power. that doesn't give a shit about most of the populace and only cares about enriching a small amount of it.
Right.
Okay.
So it comes down to being able to supply the demand and keeping that supply cheap enough so that if you can't or don't want to afford a higher income, the cost of living matches or is much
this is the
lower
thing.
than
I mean, the
income.
biggest advocate for this, the person that demonstrated that a lot of the socialist policies work, was one of the biggest capitalists of the 20th century. It was Ford.
Yes.
Ford demonstrated that you've got to pay your workers a decent wage, that you need to treat them decently, otherwise they can't buy anything.
Yeah, agreed. But see, what I'm getting at is like, okay, fine, you want to be cheap bastards. They're being greedy with their trade. Like the cost of trade is stupid. Like the cost of something doesn't cost $20; it costs 10 cents, and there's where we're paying for it.
But the point is that is capitalist in its nature. The cost, right? This is what people don't seem to understand. We live in a system that people don't understand. The point of capitalism is that people pay what people are willing to pay. What something costs, what its value is,
you also get what you pay for,
is irrelevant. No, you don't. That's what it should be. Okay, what it is people pay what they are willing to pay. That's the capitalist model. If something costs you 10 cents...
And that's where you get something like the pink tax, where certain items that are exactly the same for men and women are more expensive for women. And it's not because it typically costs more to make that. It's just that women in general have been more prepared to pay it.
Yes, very much so.
And that's capitalism.
Yes.
That's fucked up. But
it might be different over there, but here in America, you do get what you pay for because there is the cheap stuff.
No, you don't. America is way worse.
No.
From an outside perspective, it really is. The number of things that you get in America that are unbelievably cheap, but still at the same price. I really opened my eyes when I started watching reviews of American cars. And the cars that you get in America that are effectively the same car as here, but everything in it is more flimsy. They cheap out.
Terrible.
I understand that point, but I'm going down even a step lower, not because that's somewhat of a luxury for a lot of people. Getting into a brand new car that might have, quick manufacturing might exclude certain things, and you pay for those extra perks in a car. Okay, there is that option. That's the capitalistic part about it. But what I'm getting to is the normal consumer of the American public will go to the 99-cent store to save $1, and the quality of product that's.
Oh no! I totally agree with you. I mean, it's happened all the world. The biggest one that's obvious in this country because it's talked about a lot is white goods.
Okay.
Right, we can't get you go into most stores now. You can't get a washing machine that'll last you more than 3 years. Well, I've still got my parents' washing machine from 20 years ago. Say again?
Deliberately so.
Yeah, well, not just deliberately so.
Designed to nail at the point of manufacturer's warranty, but anyway.
No, but the point is that they've said outright that they stopped making washing machines that would last longer because people wouldn't pay the extra for them. Right, and they're right. Right, if I can go out and get a washing machine for £100, why would I pay for the £400 model?
Yeah.
Right, and this is the problem. Again, it's another mentality thing. I've got not a massive amount of problem. At the end of the day, right, if you work the way business works, which is the way you should tend to work under a capitalist society, you should always be looking at the total cost of ownership. Okay? So you want a washing machine for 20 years. You can either buy 4 washing machines that last 5 years, or one washing machine that lasts 20 years, but costs 4 times the price. Right? That's how you should look at these things rationally. But the problem is, as we have seen, people are more interested in marketing and the money that's in their pocket right now. And that's where we end up.
Even governments do the same thing.
Yeah, it's worse. Governments have got... America is a fantastic example of that. Because look at how bad their roads have got. Just because
we have the same thing here with roads. Yeah, we have the same thing here. Like road repairs in Western Australia, the government gets multiple quotes, most companies, because I've actually spoke to somebody who works for one of the companies that does the road repairs here, and they go, we always deliver 2 quotes from our company. One is for the repair that will last, the resurfacing of the road that will last 10 to 15 years, and one is for one that will last 3.
Yeah.
And the government always takes the 3 because that's basically a term of government, and they don't see any further than that, and it saves them money on the bottom line.
Yes, completely agree. Right, I'm going to quickly...
but in the long term, it costs the country shitloads more.
Oh, we've got it now here. We've been getting... You know that when the Tory government got in... Say again?
I was just saying that's the thing with the system anyway. Capitalism is a very short-term based system.
But it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
It should no. The whole point of capitalism. No, it doesn't need to be short-term. Is the point? The point is right. If the issue we've got now, again, if you read the philosophy of it, if you read Adam Smith's stuff, capitalism is meant to be regulated. He outright says the merchants have no country. Right? You should not trust the people that are selling. They will go to the cheapest place. If you want a company to behave ethically, you have to regulate it. Right? Capitalism requires harsh regulation to work.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Right? This idea of getting rid of red tape, getting rid of this, getting rid of the other, that breaks it. You then just have people that are willing to exploiting. That's all there is.
It's what's happening right now with medical supplies here in America.
Oh,
exactly what
hell.
Dave just described.
I haven't seen how much of the stories coming out of there are true, but if they are true, it is truly horrific.
Well, when I have actual relatives who have been diagnosed with it. Like my cousin posted a video on Facebook. She can barely breathe. She's getting over it, but it's hit my family, and they can't get fucking tests. Like our brother's still waiting to get tests. There's nothing. Like we're waiting. Some states got on top of it. Like I'm in California, and we have a mayor who actually acted very quickly, and it doesn't feel as bad as it does for my family in New York. But Florida's fucked. It's they're outbidding each other for supplies that we need. Like it's ridiculous.
Georgia's another place that's literally their governor only just recently found out that perfectly healthy people or seemingly healthy people can pass it on to other people. Oh dear, oh dear.
But the point is, this information's meant to come down from the federal government at the end of the day. You don't expect the governors to be experts. This is why they have, or meant to have, teams, people, departments that have this information. Right, let me just quickly catch up with the chat because I'm so far behind. Julie says, the president, the vice president, and the climate change policy.
Okay.
Julie said, I've just lost it again because I popped back.
We're on a tangent there, I think.
We did, which is why I just want to quickly count. Julie said, the president, the vice president, and climate change. We're still looking at 3 things we change. We pretty much tried to destroy Western civilization in the process.
I still have my list.
We'll get to you. Yes. Right. Tom says, remove the disparate impact standard from law. That solves all the problems we have. Doc Fearsome says, legalize weed, and legalize weed.
Actually, I'll go.
That's a waste of your 3 abilities.
But that could fall under healthcare. So
yes.
I'll say to Doc Fearsome, I might go one more on that and adopt the Bill Hicks thing of not only legalizing marijuana but making it mandatory.
There you go. Step further.
I've just noticed something really stupid, and I can't believe no one pointed it out.
What?
Douglas Scummer's not on the screen.
Number?
Oh, good lord, so I'm not.
I knew I only had 4 people.
Because none of us, we're only looking at StreamYard, we're not looking at the thing.
Dave, honestly, it's an improvement not to have me on that.
I thought you knew, Dave. I've been sending you tweets. Like, hey, you can't see Jeff.
Have you? I don't see Twitter.
Okay, now I'm on there now, so... Okay.
Alright, sorry, let me still catching up with the chat. Julie says, wait, I want to change my answer. Scale back the power of the executive branch, the policy on climate change, and UBI. It's so funny hearing US politics filtered through all of you. I assume Tom Leach is from the US.
Wait.
Tom Leach. but the race to the bottom exists. So if you combat monopolies, then capitalism doesn't allow people to charge just what they want. Then the supply and demand equation does. Yes, it does. Julie says Medicaid for all, US version of universal health care, which will be so much cheaper than our current system. I think we need Julie as president.
Okay.
Have we got everything? Probably. I am so far behind. Good point. They're arguing about Medicaid.
No.
Who owns hospital?
It sucks. It sucks the way they run it. I've gone into
I like that.
Has been turned away.
Listening to a Brit explain how my government was framed and intended is like listening to one of us tell you how to fix your social issues. Utter lacking of nuanced understanding. That doesn't surprise me. Tom says, that is a great leap forward for the medical industry, but once the government has singular control over healthcare, who do you appeal to if they tell you no? That's what terrifies. Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that your health... the problem you've got is America refuses to acknowledge that it has an entire society of people that are not covered by healthcare. An entire strata of society. Okay? Every country that has socialised healthcare has better outcomes for virtually everyone.
And healthcare is a right, not a fucking privilege.
Oh, it's not a right. I disagree with that. I think it's something good that should be provided by the state, but I'm not convinced it's a right.
I think it should be.
Why?
Yeah, I think it should
because it's got to be provided by someone, and I think you can't have a right that has to be provided.
But it's healthcare. It's making sure people are healthy so that you don't get sick.
Right, but yes, because then you've got public health as a much wider issue. Anyway, I need to get back to Bill. We'll get this question out. Bill, which 3 things would you change?
Okay, so a lot of them have already been covered with the whole free education, free transport, etc. One of the main things that I would like to change is our electoral system from first past the post to true proportional representation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
And that would cover almost everything, I think. Once you've got a fair electoral system, then it would be much better. Especially in the UK, where we have multiple political parties. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hate UKIP. I hate their ideals. I hate what they stand for. But it is ridiculous that they got some millions amounts of votes and not a single seat in Parliament. That is ridiculous.
But the same thing is for Lib Dems and Greens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a Green Party voter all the time. My nan's a Conservative voter. I vote Green all the time. And it's ridiculous, the percentage of the vote that they get compared to the number of MPs they have. It's so wrong.
Can we not have a sane Green Party? Can I really want a sane Green Party?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I know some of their ideas.
Oh, we lost Bill.
What?
We lost him.
We lost him.
What did you do, Dave?
I didn't. He went. Go on. What did you say?
No, I was just saying I vote Green because like they're the only ones that are nearest to my political beliefs. I mean, I live in a staunchly Conservative area.
Well, this is the point. I can't vote Green. I cannot vote anything other than I vote. Shall we say?
Yeah. I mean, so my vote is wasted. It's entirely wasted. It's completely pointless me voting because I live in a staunch Conservative area.
Yes.
Where I'm only ever going to get a Conservative MP. I've got no hope. So my
so you are far better to vote. Yeah, you are far better to. No, I live. I mean, I think the results at the election before last. No, the one we were 56 votes between Tory and Labour.
Right, so there you go. So then you're better off voting Labour for sure.
Very much so. I'll tell you where it is later.
I will tend to vote Labour over a Green, though, personally. Much issues as I've got with the Labour Party.
At the end of the day, I would... Okay, here's the issue. If Green actually voted... If Green's policy reflected scientific consensus, I would vote Green every time if it was an option. At the moment, in the UK, their opposition to nuclear in the face of climate change is idiotic.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm in agreement with that. I am in agreement with that.
I mean, I'm not even saying they need to propose. I'm not even saying they need to support nuclear, but their opposition to it, in light of where we are.
Yeah, it is. We do need to. It needs to have a sensible conversation.
Yes.
We do need to have a sensible conversation because we don't. I mean, we can get a lot of our energy from renewable sources.
Yes.
A lot of it, because of the fact that we're an island, we can get a lot of it from wind power, wave power, etc. Brilliant. But nuclear power does have to be an option.
But it's worse than that. There's no reason. This is what really annoys me about these conversations. There's absolutely no reason that we can't move our economy further towards gas in the short term, as long as we regulate it that they can't release the CO2 and they've got to contain the CO2. There's absolutely no reason. We have got the sort of gas that we can do this with.
But also, the thing is,
You're muted.
You muted, Bill.
Oh, sorry. You know why we won't move towards gas, though, don't you?
Why?
The main reason we won't move towards gas is because although we've got a lot of gas here, the top up to the supply would have to come from Russian Eurasia.
Yeah. Yes.
And obviously, we're not going to take anything that the Russians have anything to do with at the moment, because there's this historical thing going on between our government and the Russian government that's been going on for years and years and years and years and years, which is completely insane, completely pointless, nonsense.
The problem we've got is we saw it recently. Depending on any non-aligned country, I will go with, has caused problems in the political climate we've had over the last few years. Being too dependent on Russia has caused us problems. Not us problems, sorry. Has caused
other people problems.
Yes. I think we need. It's one of those things where people talk about energy security and making sure you've got your own. I think the solution is not to make sure you've got your own. I think it's too expensive. I think it's to make sure you've got diverse. Diverse sources.
I agree.
Right. Let me.
We need Amanda. I'm sure Amanda would have loads to.
I know.
This topic.
I don't know if I was clear enough that we were changing times. I think I might get into trouble.
It's all right.
Legalize there. I'm going to try and catch up again. Legalize weed. Remove religion from state completely. Legalize euthanasia. I'm happy for all of them.
Yep.
Me too.